Good morning, everyone. My name is Dean Brouder, and I'm the Drug and Alcohol Resource Coordinator for Methuen Public Schools. And my talk show is called Let's Talk with Dean Brouder. And I'm extremely excited to do our last interview of this 2016-2017 school year with a former graduate of Methuen High, a close personal friend, and ironically a former student who now helps me out, helps the whole community out by coordinating everything that you see on the video with the students here at Methuen High. Everything that you see on our website is through this man, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kevin Hatch. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
One of my closest friends.
Great.
Over the years, huh?
Great.
So let's go back to the beginning. You came into room 310, I think it was 310, back in the old building.
I don't even remember.
See?
It's been that long.
See, and you had your dog.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so tell us what it was like to, well, first of all, tell us what it was like, because this is all about talking about personalities and people that have had obstacles that they've had to overcome. No one ever hears them complain, maybe at home. No one ever hears them crying. No one ever hears them feeling sorry for themselves. They're just remarkable human beings that I don't think we focus enough on, and we have many of them here in Methuen Public Schools. And Kevin is probably one of the greatest examples, to me, power example of courage. Someone who deals with onset since the day he was born, frustration physically that affects himself mentally, emotionally. So when I had this little boy with his dog that he loved in the 9th grade, I didn't know what was going to happen or what we were going to do, because those things just weren't done back in the day when I first started teaching. So before we get to high school, Kevin, when did you know, as a little boy, things are different?
Well, it's not like I really pinpointed a time. Throughout, like, my childhood, I had a lot of support systems from home, going into my house for physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. So it became part of my life early on. My parents are really great, and they really didn't focus on that. So it was pretty much dealing with life in a different way. But obstacles didn't really factor in, like, in my daily life until later in life. And even that's not really an obstacle. It's just trying to figure, this way of doing stuff won't work. Let's figure out a different way.
So perseverance is your middle name. You don't give up. You're not a quitter.
Well, I'm not perfect by any means.
No, and we're not saying that. But boy, every time I've asked you for things, we communicate during the summer, weekends, vacations, and we really do. That's not any BS. Sometimes as a friend, sometimes as working on the website. You're always there for the school system. You're always there. Sometimes part of your job, and sometimes not part of your job. We have to acknowledge Mom.
Yep.
We have to acknowledge your family unit. I remember last time you were hospitalized over the last vacation, I got to know your mom a great deal by going to the rehab. And, she saw the Oprah scene when she was she had you and you were a baby. And, she, as a mother, didn't know, how do I do this? How do I do this? And there was a little girl being interviewed on Oprah, and she was about 6 years old. And she said, Oprah, I think she was a severe burn victim. I'm not quite sure. I can't quite remember. And she said, Oprah, some people's scars are on the inside and some people's scars are on the outside. And when they're on the outside, they're a little easier to see, but it doesn't mean that the people that have the scars inside, the ones that are suffering mentally or emotionally, don't suffer as well. So that inside-outside really seemed to help your mother say, wait a minute, this is not a burden. Kevin Hatch is not a burden. Kevin Hatch is a gift from God. Yeah. And she'll do anything for you. And she's a bulldog. She does not mess around.
She is.
She is. And so she always had a support system, you know, and then you come up here and you have this crazy English teacher who drives you nuts, who wants you to do all this writing, and you've got all these problems with the physicality, the manipulation. Your sister helped you a little bit on occasion on an essay, and you tried to get one over on me once, but I nailed you. But overall, you know, you showed up every day, and you kept showing up. And that's what you do. You keep showing up for life. And I know that sounds cliche, but you show up.
It's not easy,
No.
but I can guarantee you this. I'd much rather have a hard time, like, physically getting up and managing that than just sitting at home and not being productive.
You have built a productive life as a teacher. You're a teacher at the high school that you graduated from, and I bet you your grades were better than mine when I was a senior here, because I wasn't doing all that well. But you've become a great teacher. The kids love you. They respect you, and I think they respect you because people see how you treat other human beings. You never have a bad word for another human being. You exemplify what it means to be a gentleman, and you think, because we've always had this relationship where Dean, Mr. B, I think you still, no, I think you call me Dean now, I think.
Yeah.
But it took you a long time to call me Dean.
It did.
And you're 30 years old. But just that whole respect, you just have this inner respect for humanity, for other people. And that's remarkable because, invariably when you have a large system, you'll hear people talking about other people, and kids can be cruel. But I never really got a lot of that when you were here at high school in terms of kids being cruel with you. I'm sure it must have happened on occasion, but for the most kids, they gravitated to you. They saw that.
They did.
That courage in you.
I mean, I'm sure I had trouble at some point, but the thing is that I'm able to communicate with people very well. It may take me a year and a half to get one sentence out sometimes, but the connection's there. Yeah. So I think I'm able to help out because I've been through a lot of challenges, not in a bad way, right, but I'm able to figure out different ways of approaching stuff.
So there's a problem that Billy may have, and he can deal with it without even thinking about it. You have that same situation in front of you, and you have to think of 3 different ways of doing it, perhaps, until you get a way that will work.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. But there's a way. I've talked to so many people, and I was doing an interview for Methuen Life yesterday, too.
Oh,
so
how ironic.
I was, they were asking me about assistive technology because I'm on a committee for that, and I'm like, actually, all this high-tech stuff, the most I rely on are low-tech stuff, like grabbers, like claws type things. It's crazy. Like you just figure out different ways.
Different ways.
Like I am so grateful to be in my own place.
Yes, tell
After
everyone.
12 years of waiting on the waiting list, being in my own house finally. It's great. I'm able to have the support systems. I have people coming in 8 hours a day, morning and night, just to help me with everyday life stuff. But it's basically, it took me
Yeah.
45 minutes to do dishes the other day,
Yeah.
but I love it.
Yeah, but you did it. Yeah.
It's great.
They're your dishes. Yeah. And
Simple things, but
right. And it also opens up the door for your mother to have a little time.
Of course.
She's dedicated her whole life to taking care of you and being there, and she deserves, your whole family deserves an amazing amount of credit. I think what doesn't break you as a family when you have something that goes south, I think I can identify with that in my family, with what's happened over the last year with my son. That if it doesn't break you, it's going to make you stronger, or find a way. You have to find a way.
You have to
Yeah.
find a way. There's going to be tough moments,
Yeah.
as always.
Yeah.
But the key is try the hardest you can. Know that you're going to not do the right thing the first time around, but you'll get there.
You'll get there.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
There's definitely situations that I rethink in life, saying, well, I could have done that a different way or
Yeah.
better, but that's all learning experiences. And having the support systems that I do, I'm very lucky because I know not everyone else has that opportunity. But I'm extremely lucky to be able to motivate people and be able to help people out as I do.
As you pay back, instead
Yeah.
of just taking and taking and taking, and you have every right. It's not an entitlement. Physically, you couldn't get out of bed if there wasn't some help.
Yep.
So when people call that an entitlement, that blows my mind, but that's not for the show. But you've been able to access the system, and the system has worked out, and as a result of the support system you've had, relationships have emerged.
Definitely.
You and I mean, you could call me after midnight.
Always.
And you could. You know that.
I know that.
And you know that if I could, I would get in that car and come and help you in a heartbeat. And I've gone to you many times about
Yep.
difficult things that I'm going through. And we've developed a very strong relationship, whether it's working through the sad stuff or just that friendship.
In general, friendship.
And being there and saying, wow, that man cares enough about me to come see me or call me. And it goes, like when you're younger, you always think, oh, he's doing this for me. But you have no clue how much you've given me and how much you've shown me, because I was a whiner when I was younger, and I expected life to give me, here you go, Mr. Brouder, here, Dean, sardine, here, you like strawberries on your cornflakes. I mean, I had a totally different childhood than you. And so when I look at what you've been through, and I've seen it close up, the indignities at times of your physicality and the situations that you find yourself in and the chronic pain, and then you're just showing up and doing your job and doing the best job you can, So, my grandson to me is my little hero because he's been through, a tragedy at a very young age, and he tries the best that he can do to understand life and why certain things have happened the way they have. And I say, and Kevin's my hero. And I tell him, and he's met you a couple times, and well, why is Kevin your hero? I said, because Kevin, every single day, since the day he was born, things were not easy for Kevin and not given to him. And sometimes he was left out, and that's the reality of it. But by speaking to people that have children that are special, I don't know, Is that the right word?
Uh,
Just people.
People.
Human beings.
They're humans.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. Remember I used to say the first day of class, you're a human being first, a student second. I'm a human being first, I'm a teacher second. And
Yep.
if you treat each other that way, we're gonna have a good year. And you said, oh, this guy's crazy, I better
No.
get out. But we had 3
it's-
years together.
It's great.
We looped
you-
we looped.
You
back
have
then.
impacted my life
We
so
both have,
much.
yeah. We're good friends, and
Yeah.
you know, I wanted to show you people, because you've done so much behind the camera that they don't get a chance to see the young man that you've become and how much there's a face that's behind us, and the young students that are always helping out and doing a phenomenal job. This is what's going on in Methuen Public Schools by the people. And once you start to understand who you're dealing with, and instead of just, getting sound bits from people that are talking in the community, good, bad, or indifferent, Kevin Hatch is an example of someone who, I don't care which house you live in and what kind of car you drive, you could learn something from him. So we're not preaching today, but I had to, before the year was out, I had to show you that this is a young man that I respect with all my heart, and I've been here since the beginning, and I still do, and we're just friends that happen to work together. And these relationships exist throughout the whole school system, and I think they have a benefit to your children in Methuen. These relationships that are developed, these relationships that are strong, these well-educated human beings who have overcome, because teachers are not immune from societal ills, to overcome issues and become, they don't get a chance to speak to the public too often.
Mhm.
People speak for them and people speak about them, but they're not here, and they're not sitting in chairs, and they're not watching people do what, like you do, on a daily basis to get from point A to point B. So I want to thank you very much for being
No problem.
the last one of this year, and hopefully we'll both be back next year.
We will.
I want to thank the audience of 5 that may watch this show, and if you have insomnia, we're on channel 99
99 and 31
and 31.
on Verizon.
Normally, this is about substance abuse, so if you have a child or someone in the family that you love or you care about, you call me directly, Dean Brouder, 978-273-4812, and we'll try to help your child or your family member, and we'll be happy to see you next year. If you have a child that's going to Methuen Public Schools, I hope you get an insight into some of the things that are really happening that no one ever talks about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.